Okay, guys. Um, I just came back from watching Twisters. And my first question, who called this movie Twisters and not love story disaster version? And here's my biggest pet peeve, okay? If you haven't shot a movie on IMAX or an IMAX approved camera, then please don't release it in IMAX! Saves us time and money!
What's up, y'all? This is Preet's Perspective with me, Preetha. So, today we'll be talking about Twisters, the standalone sequel to the 1992 classic Twister. It stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Glen Powell, Anthony Ramos, and Brendan Perea, and is directed by Lee Issac Chung, whom you might know from his Oscar-nominated work Minari. Highly recommend that you check this film out. Seriously, it's so gut-wrenching. It's so heartfelt. So the story follows Kate, who was a former storm chaser who comes back to Oklahoma for another storm chasing adventure after facing a really horrific accident. And out there she encounters Tyler Owens, who is this social media influencer, calls himself a tornado wrangler, and the two embark on this really adventurous project, and that kind of forms the crux of the story. And oh boy, was this film such a missed opportunity. Oh my god. Okay, let's start by giving credit where credit is due. I really like Chung's eye to detail, and it really shows when he is shooting sequences in Oklahoma City. I think they also shot in El Reno, and the way they kind of show the extent of damage a tornado can cause, or rather different levels of tornado can cause, I feel like that was really well done. And you can also see it in the cinematography done by Dan Mendel. There are some amazing long shots which show that how much damage a tornado can cause and how can it be prevented, how can lives be actually saved. And even during the action sequences, that's where the cinematography like really shines for me, especially in the climactic moments. And another thing I have to give credit to is the soundtrack and the sound design, for that matter. The way they mix the sounds of the tornado and the amount of destruction it is causing. I saw it in an IMAX screen, and only like to a certain extent it felt like I was being sucked in by a tornado. And the soundtrack, I feel like it was really clever of them to integrate country music into it. Songs like Out of Oklahoma by Lainey Wilson, it was just so gut-wrenching. I still listen to it, it's on loop for me. And even Ain't No Love in Oklahoma by Luke Combs, it's so energetic, and it's actually Tyler's introduction song, so I mean it makes sense. You would want to introduce a character like Tyler with all that gutso, all that macho this, and being all like, yeah, I'm an Oklahoma cowboy, I'm full of energy, yeah, ooh. And speaking of, let's talk about the performances. So I feel like Daisy Edgar Jones and Glen Powell, they've done a really good job, and especially I would have to give credit to Glen. I think he kind of embodies this image of someone who looks like an asshole, feels like an asshole, but is actually a really good guy from deep within. And Anthony Ramos and Brendan Perea also give very commendable performances as part of the supporting cast, and I think they also provide a good amount of what do you call it, a catalyst to kind of move the story forward, to kind of showcase everybody's motivations and showcase everybody's stakes at hand.
Okay, now comes the tricky part. I feel like at least like 90% of the time, a performance can be as good as the writing. And that's where Twisters massively, massively falter. The story is written by Joe Kosinski, who has also written Top Gun Maverick, by the way, which was a blockbuster. And the screenplay is written by Mark Smith. But you want the story to be kind of a level up from its predecessor, especially if you're a fan of the 1992 classic. You want this to be super adventurous. You've got these really high stakes at hand, except at least like most of the dialogues feel like it has come out of a Taylor Swift song. And no shade to the Swifties, it sounds so corny. Oh my god. Like, even in the last scene, like the very, very last scene after the climax and everything is over, the Jones's character Kate, when she's trying to like hit on Owens, that is Powell's character, she goes like, what do you used to say? If you feel it, then chase it. And my entire theater just groaned. They just groaned. Just listening to the line, just the way it was kind of like shot, it just felt so cheesy, and well, it really weighed down the film for me. And as much as you want to dub this film as a summer blockbuster, I'm telling you right now, it's not. Twisters gets easily weighed down by a really corny script, a really cheesy dialogue, and the way they kind of treat certain themes also, it kind of feels really underwhelming. For example, one of the themes that Twisters kind of deals with is this creation of a spectacle of something really traumatic, and they do it through Tyler Owens, who is this social media influencer. He calls himself a tornado wrangler. He has a YouTube channel where he goes storm chasing and launches fireworks into a tornado. But even then, those moments feel really underwhelming. They feel really cheesy. And even when he's like bragging about his followers, the amount of comments he's getting, the amount of likes he's getting, it just doesn't feel right. And there is another disaster control movie which does this so right, and I would highly recommend that you go and watch it. It's Jordan Peele's Nope. And the way they kind of deal with this theme of this creation of a spectacle and kind of playing on a very negative emotion and creating it into something which is worth getting like a like or a share, or something which is worth getting captured and publicized. I feel like Nope does 1,000 times better job than what Twisters wanted to do. And even when they're dealing with trauma, as seen in Kate's character, that is Edgar Jones's character, there is a scene where she is shown to have a panic attack, and she diverts the route of the storm chasing activity, and it kind of lets the entire team down. But the sole focus has to be her having those traumatic flashbacks, right? And even throughout the film, when they're trying to show that she's still haunted by what happened in the past, they don't do it that well. It's only either like for a fleeting second that you feel, oh, she's been through something really horrific. Or even in the opening minutes, that's the only time you feel sorry for Kate. But the way trauma hits you, it's subtle yet it's hard. And I know people who have gone through panic attacks, and for them, this depiction of a panic attack would be wholeheartedly underwhelming.
And now comes my biggest gripe with the movie. Why the hell did the makers decide to release it in premium formats like IMAX? I mean, why? Why, when you're not even going to cover the entire IMAX screen? And like I said before, the sound design, it's good. But is it IMAX level good? No. Hell no. That's why I would highly recommend to watch Nope, because Nope was shot entirely on IMAX. I saw it on an IMAX screen and I could literally see the potential of what IMAX can do. Because here's the thing, allow me to be a little nerdy about this because I am an IMAX patron. IMAX screens are typically around 28 to 58 feet, or in some cases like at AMC Lincoln Square, it is a bit taller, about 36 to 76 feet, as seen here. I went to the smaller version that is at AMC Empire, but even then, when you are releasing a film which is shot on a 35mm film camera, usually what you would do to show the film in IMAX is at least remaster some of the sequences or some of the action sequences or the stunt sequences to have that big screen impact, or even like tweak some of the sound design to make it a little more crisper. Twisters doesn't even do that. It keeps the 35mm format, and what happens is that, as you will see in this picture here, you get these two black lines, and for someone who is expecting a really big screen experience, for someone who would like to see a film like this on IMAX, the viewing experience becomes really jarring because you have this amazing screen in front of you, you have this amazing story unfolding in front of you, and you have these two big gaps in the screen. And that, personally for me, I found it really irritating that they didn't even do the work to do that. So what's the point of releasing it in IMAX when you're not even going to do the work and remaster the film at least? Like, one thing I really appreciated for directors like Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan, and even Jordan Peele for that matter, they know how to use IMAX right. If you've seen Oppenheimer, the way they shot the sequences in 70mm IMAX film cameras, Denis Villeneuve shot it on an IMAX approved camera, which is an RE, I think. And during the strike, they remastered some of the sequences to fit the 70mm format, and that is something which is commendable, and you actually get the big screen experience you're rooting for. Even with Jordan Peele's Nope, the film is wholly shot on an IMAX digital camera. Some of the sequences are shot on a Panavision camera, but again, that's an IMAX approved camera, so it can be easily manipulated to fit the IMAX format. So you get fully immersed into the story. I mean, IMAX, the literal tagline of IMAX is watch a movie or be a part of one. With Twisters, you still feel like you're in a theater watching a movie. You don't feel immersed enough. You don't feel like you're a part of that world. And that really, really, really irked me out. And I feel like that also kind of weighed down my experience of what I had expected Twisters to be. Which is why I'm going to give the film 3 stars. 1 for the amount of details they put, another for the soundtrack, and another maybe for the performances, of at least what they could try to extract. I'd say this is not the summer blockbuster that you're hoping for, and if you do want to see the film, then maybe watch it at a regular screen. Avoid any form of premium formats for this one. Sorry. So yeah, that was my unhinged take on Twisters. Do let me know in the comments what you felt about the movie. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at mukherjeepreetha01 and follow me on Letterboxd at thatfilmychick for more such reviews. This is Pre's Perspective signing off. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Bye!